greetings, everybody. I am Josh. I am the community manager here at Around, and we are a community of decision makers from software startups. And we're either striving to reach our A round, that's Series A, have raised it, or I definitely want to include the bootstrappers, so people that have that business going. So you're either getting towards that A round or working to leave it. Uh, so in the way that we do this, we now have a special event, and that is that we've teamed up with Founder Institute, specifically the Founder Institute from DC.
Josh,
And
by the way, I don't see the slide on your background. You want to do it?
said, oh no, what? Okay, what's going on with our Zoom? New platform? Oh, you're right. It is not showing.
Okay, it's coming. Yes, that's working right now. Perfect. Go
All
ahead.
right, it's
Go
that
ahead.
easy.
Yes, perfect.
Yeah,
So
decades in
we see
IT.
we see the
And
FI logo, so that's great.
yeah, right. You would never believe that I used to and write code professionally, and I still do recreationally. You'd never believe it, understandably. So, um, so again, A round. Today is special because we have two specific experts. One, Gooch from Founder Institute, specifically in DC, my favorite city in the world. And we also have Story, who I'm going to introduce in just a moment. But right now, I want to just kick it on over. Gooch, take it away.
Yeah, perfect. Um, yeah, all right.
Do you want to
So how
share a
do
slide?
I
And
share
I will stop mine.
allow? Okay. Hi everybody. My name is Güç. I know some of you already. Can you see my screen right now?
Yeah, we
Yes.
can. And
All
it
right.
has the Penn
Perfect.
West. Yep.
So yeah, right. Perfect. So I won't take much of your time. So I'm an exited entrepreneur. I've been in the tech industry for about 30 years. So after the exit, I started mentoring, advising early stage startups, and running the chapter here in the Washington, D.C. region. It's been like 4 or 5 years now. So if you don't know about the FI, we're the largest global network of accelerators, pre-seed and seed stage accelerators in the world. So we're in more than 100 countries. Right now, actually, we do have more than 7,800 portfolio companies. So DC is one of the most active chapters in the world. We do work with hundreds of VCs, and that is the idea today. We teamed up with A-Round because it's not only the seed and pre-seed stage communities, but actually we're kind of trying to uh, build a healthy funnel for later stage investors and communities. So A-Round totally makes sense from our perspective as we strive to, you know, organize two chapters, two cohorts actually in the Washington D.C. chapter here. So this fall season is kind of special because we have the backing of sponsoring of Penn West and DEMPED, the Golden Triangle Business Improvement District in DC, and Office of the Deputy Mayor. So since they're sponsoring, we are structuring an in-person accelerator program for 14 weeks, kicking off this October. So if you want to hear more about it, connect with me. I'll share my LinkedIn profile. And also you can get more information and apply to the program on fi.co/penwest. It's free, no equity, no registration fee, and we provide co-working space in DC. But it is very intense and it's a tough program. It's quite competitive. We already have 10, and there's going to be 20 in total startups. I don't want to take more of your time. So, Story, it's been such a great coincidence. So we planned this with Josh, but I did not know the speaker. I didn't know that it was you actually. And interesting enough, Story's brother is someone that I work with at Founder Institute. So Scout is the regional director. So I guess it runs in the family, huh? Entrepreneurship. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Excellent. All right. So now let's go figure out this
Okay,
next
stop
part.
sharing. Yeah.
Yeah. And what I'm going to go and do is give it a share and bring us back to, and I hope this is where we're supposed to be. Um, let's see what's going on with my OBS. All right, we're just gonna have to go for it. Um, all right, so what we do generally in the beginning is take some time to have everybody introduce themselves. Today is a little bit different. I do want to very much stick to time. The presentations that we generally do are 15 minutes of presentation, 10 minutes of Q&A, and everything has one actionable takeaway, something that you can go and apply yourself. And so in this case, during these introductions, I would introduce myself when you're saying your name, your role, your company, and what you're looking for. This is an opportunity for everyone else that's here to hear something, see if you can help that person out, and this is a collaborative effort. So in my example, I'm Josh Rosenthal, Community Manager at A-Round, and I'm looking for leaders at startups to join A-Round and maybe even present if they have something that's actionable that can benefit the organization. So with that, let's see if I can get any raised hands. If somebody wants to go and present. Um, I see Karen. Are you able to talk, or do we have the ability to have?
Uh, yeah, I think it's better to have them right on the chat window because
Okay,
otherwise
how
I
about
have to.
this? Yeah, just due to this being our first time on this platform, if you'd go and just write it in the chat, I'll look at this. I'll also look at the LinkedIn and talk about that for the people about the LinkedIn, um, the LinkedIn Live.
Now I'm checking.
Okay.
Josh, I can allow them to talk
Oh, okay.
over here. So let me see. I see Sankara-sana's
Yeah.
hand.
Why
Okay.
don't you give them the
Yeah,
ability just to go and race
I
right
did.
through it?
I did.
Uh,
There you
Gooch,
go.
hope you can hear me. Actually, I
Yes.
go by Sean. For some
Yes.
reason,
Done.
the Zoom thing
Okay.
shows my full name. My name is Sean Revuru. I am the CEO, founder at Vigilic. Company name is Vigilic. We do privacy preserving fintech, for the financial industry. And I was looking, actually, Gooch invited me, and I'm not really sure what to expect, so I came with an open mind. Ideally, we were looking for funding for Vigilic to take us to the next level. So that's where we are right now. We are quite early stage. We're not ready for A round yet.
Hey,
Sorry, Series A yet, but we are definitely looking for funding if possible to take us to the next level.
excellent. There we go. Do we have, I know I'm looking at the clock. Maybe we have just one or two more. Someone else that raised their hand?
Karan.
There
Yeah.
you go.
Correct. I think I told Karan yesterday.
Awesome. Can we hear me now?
Yeah.
There we go.
You're from UK, right?
Yes, I am from London.
Take it away. Name, role, company, and what you're looking for.
Karan Mangat, company called Skill Beyond Boundaries, and I'm looking for folks who can help me expand in the US, grow in the US. It could be somebody who would like to co-work with us or who would like to cooperate with us. Either ways, I'm happy to look at anybody in any shape or form, as long as we can grow in the US.
Fantastic. This is something that we're actually going and preparing in the not very soon, but soon thereafter. Great. How amorphous is that? For more of these European and United States collaboration. So please put something in the chat window. If you're in the Zoom, put it on in the Zoom. If you're on the live, put it in the live. And for A-Round members, you already know what to do on WhatsApp. So, yep, put it on in, and also make sure to include how people can go and reach you directly.
I see Nicola. Hi, Nicola. So he's going to be joining to the Penn West program from Serbia. So
Cool.
good to see you. I
All
see
right.
Alex as well. Cool. Right. Good.
Okay, Story, I have completely taken over your time.
That's okay.
I've been trying to talk like one of those Southern auctioneers, right? Just like zooming through it, but still, I've encroached upon what should be yours. So let me do this. Other people that are interested in introducing, I'm so sorry. Please go again, write it in the Zoom chat, write it in the LinkedIn Live, and WhatsApp for the people that are members of A Round. If you're interested in joining A Round, you can just go to launches.work/A Round. That's where you can apply. It's free to apply. We're looking for people that are head of VP of, C-level of, founder inside of their organization that fits the demographics I spoke about before. Let's go and talk about what we have: positioning or product market fit problem. This thing is systemic for people in that messy A round, that march to A round. And so we brought in someone who would be an absolute expert on this matter. Story, let me just zip it and kick it on over to you. And I think that's best.
Sure, sure. Thanks so much. I'm really excited to be sharing some of this. So I just moved to the UK. That's where I am, and I've been in companies ranging from less than 1 million, looking for their A round, to Series D, Series E, and in this kind of VP product, VP marketing space. And so if you care about revenue, you care about this topic, because this topic is pretty much just behind in importance to how you find your first 10 customers and how you get your first million dollars through the door. Now, I have seen people get money without having an actual product, but I have never seen somebody get any kind of revenue without some kind of positioning. And you can use your positioning in order to accomplish some of your product goals. So let's get into it. So once upon a time, I was a product marketing person at Cisco, and we were absolutely crushed, cremated, killed, eaten for lunch by this company called OpenDNS. We bought them, and they completely eliminated my area of Cisco. And it was a great positioning exercise in product first. So you have a super insightful product, and then afterward, you figure out kind of how to position it. They had discovered it was like this classic scenario where you have a founder that has a technical insight. They build the product, and it kind of goes viral. They offer something for free, and then later on, people figure out how to position it, how to market it. And for anybody who kind of knows this space, you can either have the internet and a device with a proxy in the middle, or which like really sucks because the proxy can break and everything can go down, or you can use a DNS resolver, which was OpenDNS, and completely eliminate the cloud proxy thing. So if you don't know anything about that space, that's totally fine. The point is that they made a product that was easier, faster, safer, and as a result, they were able to position in spaces that maybe before felt like they were insulated from competition. And they killed us. So there are some other examples as well of companies that I think were product-led positioning. So honeycomb.io, their faunder, very skilled at evangelism, and she came up with this solving application mysteries positioning. Auth0, which is a company I worked at, and they came out with Auth for developers, so login for developers. Now, here's the thing. This is probably not the positioning that's going to be relevant for you, because all of these companies, they had product market fit. And this is kind of what people think of when they think of how product and positioning work together. They think that it's a situation where a founder sees a problem, has an insight, builds it on their own, it goes viral, and then the positioning keeps up. I'd say maybe that's true for the last third of this part of this slide here, that after the last pivot, but this is what I see much, much more often. The beginning of the story is the exact same situation. You have a founder that has an insight, and then they build a technical, or they're able to get the solution up to speed. But then something happens or doesn't happen, right? It doesn't go viral. The revenue doesn't just come streaming in. And then you spend the rest of your time figuring out how to pivot. And in that time where you're pivoting, before you find product market fit, you are constantly asking this question: do I have a positioning problem or do I have a product problem? Which is it? So we are going to troubleshoot this, and there's two, I would say, tricks of the trade that you can look at to figure out when you're in this messy kind of before product market fit scenario. And the first thing we need to say what we're not doing, though, we're not going to talk about go-to-market execution. That's a whole other thing. So go-to-market execution is the situation where you've got two exact same companies, basically, same product, same positioning, but one of them was just acquired by Google for 32 billion, and the other one, I think, is around 60 million or something like that. Now, Orca is not necessarily asking itself about product or positioning. Maybe they are now, but they weren't before. They were just trying to figure out go-to-market execution. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about positioning and product. So starting with positioning and how to figure out whether the thing that's causing your need to pivot needs to be solved with product or positioning. So from a positioning perspective, this is what I have seen multiple times, to the point where I've named it something. So I've named it the positioning vicious cycle. What'll usually happen is a CEO or a founder will say, we need messaging, we need positioning. And to which I say, okay, awesome. Do we feel confident that we can make these decisions? Target audience, competition that we're going to target, unique value proposition, or differentiation. And then the question I get back in this situation that's the vicious cycle is, well, shouldn't the positioning determine those decisions? And the answer is no. The decisions should always determine the positioning. You have to have a hypothesis to run with. And what happens, unfortunately, in this case is you get thrash, you just kind of thrash around, and the team never really solidifies around an actual hypothesis that you can put in front of the market and then learn from. So what is this hypothesis? And by the way, three times in a year, about 2 or 3 times I've heard this in the last month, that this is totally normal. I actually thought it was abnormal when I went through it, but it's normal to reposition 3 times in 1 year. And the way to do this methodically, and the elements of a key positioning hypothesis, are the items that you see here. So who's the competitor that you need to beat out in actual deals, whether it's the status quo, a spreadsheet, or whatever, in order to hit your next milestone? Who is the target that you think you can sell to effectively? How do you differentiate against your competitor? What is the thing that sucks the most about the competitor that hits your target profile in the heart, that really gives them pain? What is it actually like with your solution? How do you fix the pain? And then just generally, what category are you in? Now, the way that this all actually comes into a real hypothesis that you test is in the form of assets. So what you do is you take all of I call it a bill of materials. So you basically package your positioning in something that the world gets to see and your team executes. So you have a tagline, you have all the way through to a boilerplate, product descriptions, and then a sales pitch, right? Those are some of the most basic things. And this is how you ensure that you're learning as much as possible, as methodically as possible, because what you want to get to is this, where the team together is saying, yeah, we need better positioning. The product marketing or marketing people say, or product people say, okay, can we make these decisions? The team says, let's come up with a hypothesis. And then we say, okay, tell us what's working and what's not working. And when the actual positioning assets are delivered and the hypothesis is out there, in 1 month's time, 2 weeks' time, let's say after Black Hat even, you can come back and say things like, No, it's not sexy enough. It's not bringing enough people to the booth. Nobody knew what it meant, et cetera, et cetera. And then you go back and you change these underlying decisions that you made before and keep track of it, right? Because you're trying to methodically get your way to product market fit over time. Now, how far ahead of your roadmap should your positioning hypothesis go? I would say pick a sales cycle. So if you're starting conversations with a customer, you can absolutely, I mean, your sales cycle is going to go for a certain amount of time. And whether you deliver on that day or in 6 to 8 months, it's okay. You can position ahead as long as you are absolutely clear and aligned across the team about what are the 2 to 3 absolute non-negotiable product deliverables that you have to have in a certain amount of time in order to make the positioning true. Because what you don't want is to be telling everybody that you have a positioning magic bullet and they're like, oh, great, I want it. And then you get halfway through and they're like, oh, you clearly don't have a, magic bullet. And then you don't get anything out of the effort that you're putting in, right? So product has to have skin in the game, but it doesn't have to be completely product led. So that was on the positioning side, and that's a little bit whether you can tell before you're trying to pivot if you have a positioning problem, and usually it's indicated by some thrash or the team just can't seem to gel on a full business hypothesis. Now, if you have a product problem, generally what you're going to see is a lack of urgency, and you can fix that by trying to find the pain versus the vitamin in your discovery. And the way that I have found to do this is simply by making sure that people's day-to-day realities are understood. I think lots of times we focus more on the tech, more on the innovation, and less on the fact that they can't, the security person, for example, can't even get access to production because engineering owns it, right? Can they get a tool that'll help them with that? That's something they'll pay for. That's a pain, right? Versus the next detection tool that'll get you that closer to finding the APT that frankly nobody else can find. An APT being like advanced persistent threat from North Korea, right? Nobody's going to find that anyway. So nobody needs the tool that says they can find that. They need something that helps them in their everyday. So what trends are affecting their day to day? What are they actually buying? Who is the buyer that scuttles your deals? That means that you might not be selling to the right person, number one, but it also might mean that the actual pain in that organization is not being targeted. And how would they describe in their own words the competitor and the pain that you have chosen in your positioning hypothesis? Now, the cool thing is that when you make a positioning hypothesis, you actually have to ask these exact questions. So if your issue is a product issue, you can actually figure out a little bit of what your product should be doing with a positioning hypothesis. So when in doubt, you can also kind of take a shortcut and you can follow whichever tends to happen first in your organization because you've got, let's say 3 people, you've got 10 people, you've got 16 people, and you generally have patterns that you see, and it depends on people's strengths. So you might have a technical whiz who feels like they know the pains, they know the problems, and they're constantly coming up with innovation. It's okay to follow that and just position that as long as you have a positioning hypothesis. Now, let's say you don't have a technical person, you have a go-to-market person, and they're really strong, and they've had a million customer conversations every day, and you can get a ton of discovery questions put into those conversations. Follow that, and then the product can follow, right? But again, always do the positioning hypothesis because that will help both product and it will help your positioning. So in conclusion, the one takeaway is to always have a working hypothesis, a positioning working hypothesis. And this is as simple as, so if you want to screenshot it and we can send it out before, but it's as simple as it's this, right? This is your working positioning hypothesis. And you turn this into a bill of materials. So assets that then decide your positioning, and you don't have to do all of them. You can pick and choose as long as you have something customer facing that gives you an indication of real world, does this bring in business? And the other takeaways, again, unless you're one of these special businesses that gets that product market fit straight out the gate, you could use a positioning hypothesis. If you're missing the pain, it's probably your product that needs some work. If you're basically thrashing, it's probably your positioning in terms of figures like, each day you have another call with a customer and you think you guys need to be building something different. That's positioning. And you can position your roadmap out by one long sales cycle, 6 to 8 months. And actually doing the hypothesis will help you figure out what you should be doing in your product. I think that's pretty much all we have the time for. So back to you, Josh. You're on mute.
There we go. That's right. It's finding all these screens. Today, I thought that I would go in and improve my setup with multiple screens, a new camera, the whole thing. Don't do that. Just stick with what you have. I think it's better. But then, of course, we need to be able to pivot and recognize whether it's an infrastructure problem or an operator problem, right? Is it product market fit? So first, thank you very much. What I do want to do is still with the time that we do have, I do want to open this up for our traditional questions where it's an open book, truly bring anything to the table. And this is a lot where a lot of the magic happens. You have the concepts that were brought by an expert, and now you have the opportunity to directly engage with that expert. That's the benefit of being part of the Zoom, part of Founders Institute, part of A-Round, rather than watching it on the LinkedIn Live. So if we're able to open it up, please speak up and ask away. I think we have somebody that's gearing up. Gooch, do everyone have speaking ability?
And I'm happy to share the deck. I think it was one of the questions. I'm happy to do that. I'll talk with Josh about how to do that after.
Absolutely.
So, Story, I loved the example of this the startup when you were with Cisco. I was with Cisco some time ago, but we still today see that big tech cannot really innovate as fast and as disruptive as startups. So that is kind of an exit strategy as well. So guys, as I speak, please go put your questions down at the chat window so we can ask Story answer those. But I think this is a great strategy. So never be afraid of the big tech guys. Actually, I mean, again, I mean, they cannot really innovate as fast as you can because of this innovator's dilemma thing, right? So they have to wait until the market is mature enough.
Yeah. So real quick, I think we have a question inside of the chat by Alex. Is it better to have several positioning hypotheses, and how is it different to something like an elevator pitch?
Yeah. So elevator pitch is part of it. It is one piece of it. I would say your absolute minimum for a positioning hypothesis is a sales or an investor deck, a tagline and a subhead. You need to have something that describes the product. I'd say those are the main absolute, you have to have those. And so it could be pretty small. It could be pretty small, as long as it is something you can actually test with the people you're trying to get business from. And where I always start is, what is your business goal? Like if your business goal is funding, then you need to be figuring that out, right? If your business goal though is to get to whatever $1,000, then you just need to figure out what your next milestone is, and then your positioning hypothesis helps you get there. And then once you get there, you move on to the next, I would say.
Fantastic. Jessica, I'm not sure how many people are able to actually go and talk in this, and so I'm going to go and read it for them, unless whomever is able to jump up and take this from me. So I think it was Sean. How small or big should the positioning hypothesis be? And oh wait, that's the elevator pitch. And
Just one right above it about several concurrent positioning hypotheses or focused on one test at a time. So the only time you really want to have two is if you're doing a marketplace. Because if you have two marketplaces, you have two very different target audiences. basically, if you can't figure out one positioning hypothesis, you don't have a hypothesis. That's in my experience, and people struggle with it. I struggle with it for my own stuff, but you have to try to narrow it down to one, or else it's not a hypothesis.
Okay.
It's a a mash of things.
Okay. Excellent. Next, how can a founder take the prejudice out of their thinking to identify if this is a product or a positioning issue? How do we get over ourselves?
Look your fear straight in the face and understand the fact that your hypothesis might be wrong, but just be methodical, disciplined. It's like a score sheet of marketing or business metrics. If you're counting stuff and if you make sure that you understand who you were targeting 3 months ago and why you are or are not targeting them now, that's a win because you're learning and you're learning fast. That's what you want to get to. So just discipline and writing it down. Just be methodical.
Excellent. All right. I know that we are over time. Okay. So I think Andres says some do succeed with without one.
Yep.
Did Facebook have one? I don't know if you have the history on that.
I don't have I don't have the history on that, but what I can say is all the examples of what I showed you before, OpenDNS, very successful acquisition by Cisco, as Gooch mentioned, Auth0, all of those. None of those had a positioning hypothesis. So I'm speaking from the perspective of having been through these companies that have been accidental successes or failures, having tried really hard to position successfully. And frankly, I got sick of guessing. And so I came up with an actual method and I've been using it now successfully for about 3-4 years. And that's what I shared with you today. So absolutely, you can be successful, but do you really want to be successful by accident or do you want to, reduce your chance of failure?
Yeah, excellent. All right. So for everybody, I am putting 3 URLs in the chat on in each of the chats, and I would urge you to reach out to everyone here. These 3 URLs are the LinkedIn for everyone here. Please connect with each of us. Be in touch. Oh, is it different from a positioning statement or is it the same?
It's different. The positioning statement is just an internal, I would say, thing that nobody uses. When you actually have your positioning in these particular assets, your positioning is live, it's out there. Otherwise, you're going to spend another 6 months figuring out how to translate your positioning statement to an asset that everybody sees. So just skip it and make these decisions. And then translate them as a part of your positioning process into, I have a webinar on YouTube that, not a webinar, but I have a video on YouTube that actually shows how to do this for the tagline, just for example. It's basically ChatGPT. You can use a prompt for the tagline, and then there are a bunch of formats and templates for the other things, like a pitch. The pitch is just why this, why now, why us. So yeah, it's not a positioning statement. They're actual assets that your team uses, and you can use AI to help with that.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. So once again, everybody that's on the Zoom, please look in your chat. For every other forum, I'm going to go and include those URLs. Please reach out to all of us every Tuesday at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific, 1800 over, well, depending on where you are in Europe. We'll have these expert pieces of advice, which is 15 minutes of content, 10 minutes where you're able to go and interact with one actionable takeaway. This is one of, I hope, many more with Founder Institute who are doing some very interesting things internationally. And then, of course, in my favorite city in the world, Washington, D.C., where I had the chance to meet Gooch. So
Thank
let me
you.
give you the outro. Mr. Gooch.
Yeah, thank you so much. I mean, this is the first, but yes, sure, we definitely should continue organizing those joint events. And I'm looking forward to working with you, Josh. And I see that Andre Jordan is also connected. He's amongst the participants right now. He's also a mentor here at the Penn West Accelerator that we're going to be kicking off. So I know that you have a couple sessions registered. So Andre did as well. So looking forward to having all those promising founders in the accelerator. And it's great to meet you, Story. So hopefully we'll see you in DC
Absolutely.
later on, perhaps maybe in
Yeah.
person, meeting in person.
Why not? Why
Excellent.
not?
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. That's great.
Yeah. Story, thank you again for jumping on, for being one of these founding presenters. When I had just kind of come up with this idea, Story is just one of these people. I was like, I have to reach out, and I was like, is this crazy, or is this crazy enough to work? And here we are. So
Here
thank
we
you
are.
all.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.